Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about Unacademy Combat, and then we'll solve a few questions that have already come in Unacademy Combat. All right, let's begin. So, my name is Ishwarya. I have done my masters in maths from University of Delhi. Prior to that, I did my graduation in maths from Miranda House. I've been training students for various management entrances since past 4 years now. So at Unacademy, we provide you two kinds of subscriptions, the plus subscription and the iconic subscription. So if you go for the plus subscription, you will have access to the classes from top educators of India. All the classes are live, they are interactive. You can get your doubts clarified within the class itself. You will get the notes. PDFs will be downloadable for you after the end of each and every lesson. You will also have access to the live mock test and quizzes that happen on the platform. All right. Now, in the iconic subscription, you get all the benefits of Plus. Along with that, you get classes from you get personalized attention from your educator. So if you feel that you're weak in certain areas or weak in or if you want personalized classes of all the areas, then taking the iconic subscription will be a good idea for you. Okay. Other management entrances preparation is inclusive. You get expert guidelines about GDPI, and if you have any other queries, it will be resolved by our educators. Test analysis and a detailed score report of each and every mock test that you give on the platform is shared with you. All right. Now, these are the prices. The price of plus subscription for 24 months is 32,800, and for 12 months this price is 22,550. Likewise, the price of iconic subscription for 24 months is 67,000, and for 12 months this price is 39,500. You can use my code AAISH10 to get 10% off the entire course fee for both the subscriptions. Alright, so this was about the Unacademy subscriptions that we offer. Now let us understand what is Unacademy Combat. So this is India's biggest weekly scholarship test, and this is for you CAT aspirants. Alright, so we just discussed about the plus subscription, right? And if you take part in this test and get a good score, or if you get a rank from rank 1 to 200, you will definitely get a good scholarship over your Unacademy CAT plus subscription course fee. So just think about it. If your rank is between 1 to 3, you will definitely get the entire subscription free of cost. 100% scholarship will be given to you. Alright, if your rank is between 4 to 10, you will get 75% of the subscription course fee. Alright, so guys, this is a wonderful opportunity for you. Please enroll for the next Unacademy Combat using the code AAISH10 so that you can win a good scholarship. Alright, now let us discuss a few questions that have already come in Unacademy Scholarship Combat Test. Okay, let's begin. So here is question number 1. The question says, how many triplets of prime numbers can be formed such that the terms of the triplet are in arithmetic progression? Alright, so let us start picking the triplets. Let's see if they follow a certain pattern or like that. So I can start from 3. Let us take 3. 3 is a prime number. The next number could be 5 and the next number could be 7. So these three are prime numbers. Also, this is an AP with common difference 2. So this is acceptable. Let us take a different number. We can start with 3 again. Let us take 7 this time. And I have 7 plus 4, 11. This is also a prime number triplet, which is an AP. Now we can take 3. We can take 9. So what is the common difference here? This is of 6 units. So 9 plus 6, 15. But 15 is not a prime number. So this is not possible. Now let us take up another triplet. 3. Now the number I can take is 11. Now common difference is of 8. It means the third prime number could be 19, and this is possible. This is an AP as well as all the three numbers are prime numbers. Now I can take 3, then I can take 13, and the common difference is of 10. The next number will be 23, which is a prime number. So this is also satisfied. So it is quite clear that we have got more than 3 triplets which satisfy this criteria. Hence, the answer will be option D. Alright, I hope this question is clear to everyone. Let's see the next question. Yes. So the question says, how many triangles are possible if two altitudes of the triangle are 12 and 17 and another altitude is a natural number? All right, let's see this question. So altitude means the height of the triangle, and we know that area of a triangle is equal to 1 by 2 base into height. Base is the side of the triangle, height is the altitude of the triangle. So from here I can say that base into height is equal to some constant value. Okay, so it will be right to say that base is directly proportional to 1 upon height, or base is inversely proportional to height. Or if in terms of side and altitude, I like to write it as side is inversely proportional to 1 upon altitude. Alright, so we have this relation. Now, let us take the third altitude as n. Okay, so now we have the altitudes of this triangle are 12, 17 and n. We have taken the third altitude as n, which is a natural number. Alright, so we have this. It means that the ratio, if the ratio of altitudes we take is 12 is to 17 is to n. Okay, so the ratio of sides of the triangle will be equal to 1 upon 12. Ratio is to 1 upon 17 is to 1 upon n. Right? This will be the ratio. Now what we can do is that in order to simplify this, we can multiply it by 204n. Okay, so what is the ratio we'll obtain? The ratio obtained will be equal to 17n is to 12n is to 204. Alright, this is what we get. Now we know that in triangle, this is a property. In a triangle, we have sum of two sides is always greater than the third side. Right? Is always greater than the difference of two sides. Right? We have this property for a triangle, for any triangle to be possible. So in this case, the sum, let us take the two sides as 17 and in 12n. So the sum of sides, sum of two sides I'll get will be equal to 29n is greater than 204. Right? And here the difference of two sides, this will be greater than 17n minus 12n, which is equal to 5n. Alright, so we have this. Now let us consider the first part of this inequality. So from here, I get that the value of n will be greater than 204 upon 29. And from the second part of the inequality, that 204 is greater than 5n, I get that n will be less than 204 upon 5. Okay, so solving these values, we will get that n lies between 7 and 40. Okay, because this number comes out to be 40.8 and this number comes out to be 37.33, 7.33. Alright, so how many possible values of n are there between these numbers, considering the fact that n is a natural numbers? So I get the possible values as 8, 9 till 40. The total possibilities are equal to 30. Total possibilities is equal to 33. Hence, the correct answer will be option C. Alright, I hope this question is clear. Now, let us continue to question number 3. So, we have this. The question says, sum of the squares of digits of 3-digit number is equal to S. Okay, so let us take a 3-digit number. Let the digits be digits of a 3-digit number be A, B and C. So A, B and C are the digits. We can consider A is the hundreds digit, B is tens place and C is the unit digit. Hence the number we have taken is A, B, C. Alright, now sum of squares of the digits is equal to S. So I can say that S is defined in this way. S is equal to A square plus B square plus C square. Alright, let's see the next statement of the question. each of its digits is multiplied by the sum of other two digits. Okay, it means if A is taken, it is multiplied by B plus C. If B is taken, it is multiplied by A plus C. If C is taken, it is multiplied by A plus B. Alright, so this is there. Now, the sum of all such possible results is R. So, sum of all these values is given by R in the question. Also, we have a relationship between R and S. It is given that S is equal to R by 2. Alright, this is given in the question. Let us try to simplify this further. Let us put the values of S and R in this given equation. Alright, let's start solving. So I can write that twice of A square plus B square plus C square is equal to AB plus AC. I have just opened the brackets for R. Okay, plus AB plus BC plus AC plus BC. Okay, so I can write this as 2A square plus 2B square plus 2C square is equal to 2AB plus 2BC plus 2AC. Okay, so if I take this 2AB on the right hand side of this equation to the left hand side, okay, I can form an equation like this: A square plus B square minus 2AB, right? Taking 1A square and B square from these two terms. Likewise, I can form another equation. I can write it like this, that A square plus C square minus 2AC plus B square plus C square minus 2BC is equal to 0. Alright, so we can write it like this. Now this is what? A plus B whole square, and this is equal to A plus C whole square, and the third term is B minus C whole square. Sorry, these are minus whole squares. Alright, let us continue further. So A minus B whole square, B minus C whole square, and A minus C whole square is equal to 0. Now, since A, B, C are digits, these are positive numbers. These are positive, these are natural numbers. So, squares of positive numbers is equal to 0. It means that these numbers are 0. Then only this equation will be true, right? So, what I can know that this is possible when A minus B is equal to A minus C is equal to B minus C is equal to 0. So from here we get that A is equal to B is equal to C. Alright, so we have this. Now the question is asking, how many such 3-digit numbers exist? So these are the 3-digit numbers with equal digits. Okay, we cannot consider the digits as 0, otherwise it won't be a 3-digit number, it will be just 0. So the possibilities are 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and this will continue till 9, 9, 9. So total possibilities are, we have 9 numbers possible. Alright, therefore answer to this question is 9. Alright, I hope this question is clear. Let us continue further. Let's do the next question. Okay, so we have this question. A test has 90 questions. Each correct answer fetches 1 mark. So let us take the total number of correct answers is C. This fetches plus 1, right? Plus 1 marks for C. Now, each wrong answer carries a penalty of 1 by 3 marks. So let us take the total number of wrong answers as W, and each answer carries the penalty of 1 by 3. So minus 1 by 3 marks are awarded when an answer is wrong. Okay. For unanswered question, let us take total number of unanswered question in the test as U. This carries a penalty of minus 1 by 6 marks. Alright, this is given in the question. Now, this test has 90 questions. It means since total questions is equal to 90, I can write that C plus W plus U is equal to 90. Right? We can write this equation. Let's see the next sentence. A student who attempted the test scored 51 marks. Okay, so total marks scored is equal to 51 marks. So since the number of correct answers is C, marks awarded for correct answers are C. Okay, then marks awarded for the wrong answers are minus W by 3. And total marks awarded for the unanswered questions are minus W by 6. And this value is equal to 51. Right? Simplifying this further, I can write this as, let us multiply the whole equation by 6. So I can write this as 6C minus 2W. Sorry, this is unanswered. Okay, let's just verify this. So this is U by 6. Okay, minus 2W minus U is equal to 306. Okay, now what we can do is that let us take this equation as 1 and this equation as equation number 2. Let us add both these equations. So if I add equation 1 and 2, what do I get? I get 7C minus W is equal to 306 plus 90, 396. Alright, this is what I have. Now I can write C in terms of W. I can write C is equal to 396 plus W upon 7. Right, this is what I can write. Now in the question we need to find the number of questions answered correctly by the student is at least. We need to find the minimum value of C. Okay, so we are looking for the minimum value of C. Okay, yeah, but we know that C is a positive integer. We know that W is a positive integer because these are the number of questions answered, right? And we have this equation. Okay, so the minimum value of W that I can take here is equal to least value of W I can take is equal to 3. Why? Because this thing 396 plus W by 7 should always also give me a positive integer. Okay, so if I take this as 3, then the value of C obtained is 399 by 7, which is equal to 57. Okay, therefore the minimum value of C will be equal to 57. 57 is the correct answer to this question. Alright, I hope this question is clear to everyone. Let's move ahead with the next question. The maximum distance between any point on this and any point on this is 30 is equal to what? We need to find the maximum distance between any point on these equations. Now, if you look at this, this is an equation of a circle. This is also an equation of a circle. So what is an equation of a circle? Let's just recall that. So the equation of circle is given by x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square is equal to r square, where the center is h comma k and the radius of the circle is r. Alright, so comparing it to this equation, if I have this equation x plus 5 whole square plus y square is equal to 16 and another equation given is x square plus y plus 12 whole square is equal to 36. Let's see how can we simplify this further. So from this equation we know that radius is equal to 4 and center of the circle is minus 5 comma 0. From this equation we can say that radius is equal to 6 and center coordinates of center of the circle are 0 comma minus 12. Alright, let us try to plot the centers on the circle so that we can get an idea what will be the maximum distance. Alright, so we have a point minus 5 comma 0. So if this is my x-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the origin 0 comma 0. I can plot I can take the point minus 5 comma 0 somewhere here and this is a circle with radius is equal to 4. So this won't pass through 0 because this distance is 5. So you'll have a circle like this. Right? Somewhat like this, not passing through 0. This is the circle. Right? Now let us consider this case. In this case, we have radius is, this is 4. Alright? The radius is 6. and the center is 0 comma minus 12. So 0 comma minus 12 will be some point here, right? This is the center. Now radius is 6, so till here. So I can draw a circle like this, right? Center will be this radius is 6, this radius is 4. Okay, so do the circles touch each other? No. So here we just drew a rough figure and identify that the circles will not touch each other. Okay, but even without drawing the figure, we can do this question. We can calculate the distance between the centers of the circle. Okay, you can calculate the distance, and that distance is greater than the sum of radius. So therefore, the circles won't touch each other. All right. So if you look at this, let us try to solve this. So we have this distance is 5 and this distance is equal to 6. Let us take this center as P and this center as Q. These are the centers of the circle. So the distance OP is equal to 5, right? The distance OQ is equal to 12. And they are perpendicular also because these are the axes. So PQ can be calculated using Pythagoras theorem. This is a Pythagoras triplet, 5, 12. So the hypotenuse is 13. Okay, so we get the length of PQ is 13. So we have this. Now, the maximum, to maximize the distance, I need to consider the point which passes through P and Q and are at this position. So this is point A. If I draw this straight line passing through P and Q, okay, this is point B. The maximum distance between any 2 points on these 2 circles could be AB, right? So we already have the length of PQ. What is the length of AP? AP is the radius of the circle. Therefore, this is equal to 4. Okay, and BQ is the radius of the second circle, which is equal to 6. So the maximum distance is equal to AB, which is equal to AP plus PQ plus BQ. Okay, so this is 4 plus 13 plus 6, which gives 23. So 23 units is the maximum distance between any 2 points on these 2 circles. All right, I hope this question is clear. Let's move on to the next question. So the question says, if the equation k square minus 5k plus 6x square plus k square minus 7k plus 12x plus k square minus 9 is 0. So this is a quadratic equation. Okay, it's satisfied by more than 2 values of x. Okay, so think about it. Can a quadratic equation have more than 2 values of x? More than 2 roots of a quadratic equation are possible? No, these are not possible. Therefore, I can say that this is possible only when the coefficients are 0, right? These coefficients are 0. If these coefficients are 0, you will get infinite values of x, right? So this is possible only when k square minus 5k plus 6 is equal to 0. And another one, k square minus 7k plus 12 is equal to 0 and k square minus 9 is equal to 0. So all the 3 coefficients should be 0. Okay, if one is 0, then also this is not possible. So all 3 coefficients need to be 0. Alright, so let us solve for this. So the coefficients are also satisfying the a quadratic equation. So if I need to solve this, I can write this as, okay. So factorizing this middle term splitting, k square minus 2k minus 3k plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, solving this further, I can take k minus 2 common here and k minus 3. Okay, so the values of k obtained from this one, this is equal to k is equal to 2 and k is equal to 3. All right, let us solve the second one. So I can write this as k square minus 4k minus 3k plus 12 is 0. So this can be written as k minus 4 into k minus 3. All right, so the value of k we obtained from here is 3 and 4. All right, now the final one. Yes, so from here I can get k minus 3 and k plus 3. Okay, this is 0. Hence, the value of k we get is 3 and minus 3. So, there is only one value which is common in both the cases, which is 3, 3 and 3. 3 is there in all the three cases. Therefore, answer will be option B. Option B will be the correct answer to this question. K is equal to 3. Alright, I hope this question is clear to everyone. Let us see. Further, next question. Let's see. So the question says the cost of printing a book is divided in such a way such that the 10% of cost is invested on paper, 5% on printing ink, 20% on labor, 25% on power and 40% on payment to the author. Okay, so since we have percentages mentioned in this question, it will be good idea if I take the cost of the printing book as 100 or any other multiple of 100. Okay, this will simplify my calculation. So let's do that. So cost, let the cost of book be equal to 100. So this is the cost price, CP of this book. Okay, let's see what is the breakup between the different factors involved in the cost. So we have that amount invested in paper is equal to 10. 5% on ink. Amount invested for ink is 5. On labor, we have this as 20. On par, we have 25, and on author, payment to the author is given as 40 in the question, 40% in the question, which is 40 here. All right, now so it means that CP is equal to 100. Now this book is sold at the profit of 20%. So profit percent is given as 25% here. Alright, it means that the cost price will be, so the profit is always calculated over the cost price. So the selling price will be equal to 125. Okay, so we have this. Now, if the price of paper goes up by 10%, so this goes up by 10%, so this will be equal to 11 now, right? Ink goes up by 20%. 20% means 1 by 5, so this will be 6 now. And the labor charges increase by 30%, sorry 50%. 50% of 20 means increase by 10, so this is 30. Now this value is not changed, 25 and 40. Now the CP, the increased CP, cost price, will be equal to 11 plus 6 plus 30 plus 25 plus 40. So if I add these numbers, I'll get 70 plus 25 plus, so I'll get 112. Alright, this is the increased cost price. Alright, I hope this is clear now. So since this is the increased cost price, let's see what will be the value of profit percent. Now the selling price remains unchanged. So SP will remain 125 only. So the profit will be equal to SP minus CP, which is 125 minus 112, which is equal to 30. Therefore, the profit percent is 13 upon 112 into 100. Okay. So if you solve this, you will get this equal to 11 whole number 17 upon 28% as the final value. So therefore, answer will be option B. Alright. Okay, I hope this question is clear. B is the correct option. Alright. Let us move towards the next question. What is the area of the region bounded by this curve? Okay, so this is the curve mod x plus mod y is equal to 4. Okay, let's see what does this curve represents. Okay, let's see. So since we have modulus, so we need to consider the positive values and the negative values. Okay, let's see. So if x is positive and y is positive, both are positive, then the equation will be, it will be a linear equation, x plus y is equal to 4, right? Let us draw the graph simultaneously. So this will be this, right? I'll get a line like this, that x plus y is equal to 4, straight line. Now, when x is greater than 0 but y is less than 0, I'll get the equation x minus y is equal to 4. Okay, let us try to plot this equation. So at y is equal to 0, x will be equal to 4. Okay, but at x is equal to 0, y is equal to minus 4. So this would be a line like this, right? This is the point 0 comma 4. This is the point 4 comma 0. This is the point 0 comma minus 4. Alright, now when x is less than 0 but y is greater than 0, I'll have minus x plus y is equal to 4. And then when both are negative, means x is less than 0 and y is less than 0, I can have minus x minus y is equal to 4. Alright, so if you plot these remaining two equations, you will get like this. Alright, so this point of intersection will be equal to minus 4 comma 0. So if I draw a perfect figure, a better figure, I have to represent all four lines. So I get a figure like this. Alright, so this is the equation of a rhombus. If you look at this, this is clearly a rhombus. All the sides are equal. This is a rhombus. Alright, this point is 0 comma 4. This point is 4 comma 0. This point is minus 4 comma 0. Sorry, this point is 0 comma minus 4. This point is minus 4 comma 0. Alright, now we have to find area of the region bounded by. So we need to find the area of the rhombus. Okay, and we know that area of rhombus is equal to half the product of diagonals. This is the product of diagonals. This is the area of the rhombus. Now in this case, this is equal to 8 units. 4 plus 4. Likewise, the other diagonal is also given as 4. Okay, so area of the rhombus can be calculated. This is half of 8 into 8. Alright, so the answer will be 32 square units. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Alright, I hope this question is clear to everyone. Let's move towards the next question. Question number 9. Two parallel chords of length 16 centimeter and 12 centimeter are lying at the same side of center of the circle with radius 10 centimeter. Okay, so this is the figure. Since both the chords lie on the same side of the circle, let us take these chords AB and PQ. These are the chords on the same side of center of the circle. Now radius is given as 10. So we have R as 10. Let us take the center of the circle as O. We need to find the distance between the two chords. Okay, so let us take this point as C and this point as D. Alright, so let us consider the triangles. In triangle OBC. In triangle OBC means this triangle. Okay, I can apply Pythagoras theorem. Why? Because this angle is 90 degree. Also this angle is 90 degree. Why are these angles equal to 90 degree? Because we have a theorem that the perpendicular drawn from center of the circle to the chord always bisects the chord. Okay. So this is the perpendicular drawn as well as this will be the midpoint. So therefore, in triangle OBC, I can write that OB square is equal to OC square plus BC square. So OB square means 100, 10 square. OC square means x square and BC square means 8 square, that is equal to 64. So from here we get x square is 36. Now since this is a distance, this value will always be positive. So we got x is 6. Okay, let us take the different triangle. Let us consider the triangle, the right angle triangle OQD. Okay, let us consider OQD. Now in this triangle, I can write that OQ square is equal to OD square plus DQ square. So again, I can write that 10 square is equal to OD square. OD is x plus D, right? X plus D whole square plus 6 square. So from here, I get x plus D is equal to 64 under root 64, which is 8. Okay. Now, the distance between the chords is given by D, which is equal to 8 minus 6. Hence, 2 centimeter is the correct answer to this question. Alright, 2 centimeters. So option C is the correct answer. All right. I hope this question is clear. Let's move on to the next question, number 9. Question number 10. Okay. So it is given that if m and n are integers, how many solutions does this equation 15m minus 51n is equal to 71 have? Let's see. So I can take 3 common from the left hand side. I can write this equation as 3 into 5m minus 17n is equal to 71. Further simplifying, I can write this as 5m minus 17n is equal to 71 by 3. Okay, now it is given that m and n are integers. It means that the left hand side of the equation should also be an integer. This is an integer. Okay, because 5m minus 17n will be an integer given the fact that m and n are integers. Okay, but right hand side of this equation is not an integer. So this is not possible. Right, this is not possible because it needs to be an integer for the solutions to exist. Therefore, we get no solution as the answer. Okay, so this is no solution. So I can write that option D is the correct answer to this question. Alright, hope this question is clear to you. Okay, so today we have solved 10 questions that have already come on Unacademy Combat. Alright, so these questions were doable, right? And this will be a good practice exercise for you as well if you solve the questions of combat. Okay, so guys, please register for the next combat which is going to happen on coming Sunday at 12 p.m. There will be 30 questions that you need to answer. So guys, please go ahead and register for it so that you can take part in it. All right. Okay. So these are the students from our iconic subscription who have more than 99 percentile in CAT 2020. You guys can also join this list for CAT 2021 if you start your prep with us as soon as possible. Okay, new batches starting on the Plus platform from 29th May. This a new batch was started. From 2nd and 5th June, 2 new batches are going to start. I am also going to start a new course on logical reasoning from 7th of June. Okay, so this will be a brand new course. So please guys go for the Unacademy Plus subscription and join me in this batch at from 7th June. Alright. Okay. Now this is Ask a Doubt feature of the Unacademy Learning app. This is a 24/7 support. So whenever you are studying, if you are stuck in any question, click the picture of the question and share it with our educators. Our educators will solve the question for you and share the complete explanation. Alright.